So Marjorie Taylor Greene says that Nikki Haley should be eradicated from the Republican Party, and any Republican who disagrees with Donald Trump or steps out of line should be eradicated. Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of Donald Trump's most loyal soldiers. When I think of MAGA, I think of Donald Trump, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene is the next one that I think of. And she's saying that anyone out there that disagrees with him at all should be kicked completely out of the party. Now, I felt bad in the beginning years ago. I'm talking years ago. I felt bad for calling him a cult. But then the deeper in the weeds we went with it all, I realized there's no other thing to call it. That's exactly what it is, because their loyalty is not to the Republican Party. Their loyalty is not to our system of government. Their loyalty is not to the United States of America. It's solely to Donald Trump. And he still has control over their party. They're still taking orders from him, and he's a failed former president. He has caused them to lose every election since 2016. The big red wave that they thought was coming keeps missing, and yet they still keep hooking their wagon to Donald Trump, and they're willing to go down on their shield for him, and anyone that disagrees should be eradicated and kicked out. And they use words like eradicated. They use phrases like root out the vermin. And then they wonder why we sit back and call them a cult, and they wonder why we sit back and compare them to dictators. Well, you're quoting them. Marjorie Taylor Greene will go out there and she will sit and talk about what Joe Biden is accomplishing in a negative way. Well, he's out here, he's prosecuting criminals. Well, what's so bad about that? You can literally listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about Joe Biden, and they've done this. They've actually collected clips of her talking about Joe Biden and his accomplishments and said, hey, she's running a campaign ad for Joe Biden. But she can come out here and she can say it with such a negative and such a hateful and spiteful tone that the audience will sit there and go, yeah, he fixed the economy. Can you believe that shit? I mean, God almighty, yeah, he lowered the cost of insulin. Hell, he locked up a criminal. I can't believe this shit. That's how far gone these people are, folks. That's what you're trying to deal with. If you're sitting at work and you're overhearing a conversation between two MAGA Republicans and you're not getting in the middle of it, yeah, if you do get in the middle of it, that's what you're dealing with. So I can't count the times that I've overheard conversations like that and just sit there like this going, oh man, I would really like to get in the middle of this one, and I would like to try to point out to them how government works, but I know they're not going to listen to me. I know they're going to come back at me with the same talking points that they've been fed. And that's what is so frustrating about this. When I look at MAGA's world and their class of clowns, I look at someone like Lauren Boebert. I wrote the song Bobo's a New Kind of Clown. She really is. I've often wondered, I really believe that obviously she's stupid, okay? I know that. But I'm saying, I've often said to myself, I wonder how much she really believes it, or is she just a talking head? Would she just say whatever they told her? Because she did go out on a date with a liberal dude, that had drag queens at his bar, so she couldn't have cared too much about it. Marjorie Taylor Greene really believes every damn thing she's saying, and she deeply cares about everything she's saying, and she means it. And she is one of the most cruel and spiteful and vindictive people. And I've never seen Marjorie Taylor Greene ever try to win over voters to her side. I've never seen her try to reach across the aisle with anybody on any issue. When's one time that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, I want to work with Democrats, I want to work with my fellow Americans, or you should vote for me because of this? She doesn't. It's if you disagree with what I'm saying, you should be eradicated. If you dare question our leader, you should be eradicated. You should be rooted out. You should be put completely out of politics. That's not what any political party is supposed to be about. I've said this before, but I'm going to keep repeating these points because they need to be repeated, and people need to understand that as Democrats, progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call us, we will disagree with our own. We don't just automatically agree with Joe Biden because we voted for him. And I don't use the term a Joe Biden supporter or a Joe Biden follower. I say I voted for Joe Biden. Now, am I going to agree with Joe Biden on everything? No. And I would never say to a fellow Democrat, progressive, liberal, whatever, I would never say to them, don't you dare question Joe Biden. Don't you dare do that. If you do that, you're out of our party. I wouldn't say that. If someone said, I have a question for or about Joe Biden, I would hear them out. And if it was a valid question, if it was something that we really needed to take a look at, I'd say, hey, you know, the person here's got a point. How about it, Joe? Can you explain that to us? Because we're not in a cult. Because we're not loyal to one dude. Because we don't put that one dude above everything else. We don't sell out every moral and every belief, and we don't rip apart the foundation of the United States of America all for one guy. I can't make people, there's so many people that cannot understand that. Oh, you must be a Biden supporter. No, I don't have a Biden flag. I don't have Biden memorabilia. I don't have a cardboard cutout of him in the house. You know, I don't have a pillow with his face on it. I don't, because that's not what he is to me. He's the president of the United States. I think he's doing a good job. I think he's doing a way better job than people ever give him credit for. Even on the left, there's people that won't give him enough credit for the things he has accomplished. But I don't worship the dude, and if I find something tomorrow that I disagree with him on, I'm going to say I disagree with him on that. And later today, I have band rehearsal, and I will sit down with 3 other progressive-minded people, and we're going to play some music. And when we get done, we might talk politics, and the drummer may say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with Joe Biden. And I'm not going to say, well, you should be eradicated. I'm never going to do that to him. I'm never going to say it. I'm going to go, well, you may have a point there. That's because we're reasonable people. And it's because we're not in a cult. But if Donald Trump is Jim Jones, then Marjorie Taylor Greene is his head disciple.